All right, hello. Welcome to Race Brain Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan, joined as always by Bracken Crocker and Jack Bauer. Today we have a couple events coming up. We have the third and final stop at the U.S. National Series. Is that what we're calling it? North American? What are we
Not
calling it?
seen anywhere outside the U.S. this year, so goodbye
USNS.
NEAS.
We're
Yep,
back. We're back to where we were back in the heyday, as we will cover. And so we're going to talk about that out there in Utah. Beast?
it is. They went sprint, super beast, one of each distance. If you actually look around the world, most countries have had a specific one. So, like if you're in Hungary or Spain or the Philippines, they have simply that country, and they'll have one of each distance in it. So they kind of did that standard throughout the year this year.
Makes sense to
Good.
me. Makes sense
Yeah.
to me. And then once we cover some of these racers that will be out in Utah, we will then dive into the first ever, the inaugural Deka Ultra happening in Fort Wayne. Ultra Deka?
Deka
Ultra.
Ultra. They do
Deka
Deka
Ultra.
Strong, mile, fit. The distance comes at the end.
So
I'll buy that.
the words are all combined and it's all capitalized
Yeah.
for branding purposes.
Like Spanish.
It's yelling at you.
So for the third and final stop, we are not going to draft today as we typically would, mostly because the landscape of the sport has changed so significantly that the athletes are also changing as well. So we need some time to really learn and understand who the players are and how and who is going to emerge as the athletes to watch. It's like almost the sport is starting anew. So
Mhm.
when we came in here initially and started in these drafts, we had a lot of history with the athletes that we got to talk about. We don't have too much history with these athletes yet. So we need to kind of really take our time, see what's going to happen with this, study up on it before we really kind of dive in so we can talk about these athletes to the amount that we should. And right now, I don't think we're equipped totally to do that.
No one wants to hear us say this athlete won their local race. This athlete ran at this number of races. Like they deserve to have stats next to their name. And to be quite honest, most of them don't. Jack, on the list here, how many on the men's side, let's start with, have been drafted by us before in a national or world race, not counting world's toughest?
Not counting world stuff.
In the men's race,
Yes, not counting world's toughest. How many have been drafted before?
5,
Of how many roughly?
30.
Okay, and how many have ever made a top 5 at a national or world race, not counting Tough Mudder?
I
One?
think Ethan Brown just missed the top 5 in Big Bear. Isaac Sanderson would probably be the closest.
Wasn't he
bet.
fourth or
None.
fifth in Jacksonville?
Yeah, Ethan did in Jacksonville. You're right. He got third.
Jacksonville won.
So you're right.
1 out
Yep.
of 30.
And Isaac Sanderson has had good performances, but
Correct.
he's probably the most notable name.
So what
In a
this
different-
is, everything we say from here on out, I want to be very clear. This is not an indictment of who's there. It's an indictment of who's not there, which is everyone we normally draft.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to avoid a crappy draft, we're going to let them cook for a race or two and then see who settles out where.
Exactly. And then when we get a chance to watch or follow and we can talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the athletes, it's just better. It's just a better way to preview things. But the women's field's looking pretty good. So we're going to just talk about some of the athletes that we want to watch here at this
It's
beast
not
distance.
looking pretty good.
It's looking better. It's looking okay.
There are some pretty
It's
looking okay.
missing it's the exact same as the men's side plus rows.
No,
I disagree.
No,
This is a
I
pretty
think
good
that
field.
there are 10 very respectable racers in this
I'm not
race on
saying the
women's
men's side aren't respected. These are all respectable racers at this level. It's missing all the pros. There are 2 or 3 women you could consider pro or pro adjacent.
There's
that correct?
I would say
There are a
three-
lot-
I would say there's athletes that would typically be top 10 in a
National series.
U.S.
How many
National
top 5?
Series.
2, maybe 3.
1, 2.
Yeah, the top heavy is. I will admit
Right.
that, but
That's all I'm saying.
This is still
It's missing all the top pros.
It's still going to be a very competitive race with recognizable names who have a history in this sport and a couple up and comers who I think have honestly a pretty solid future out of them. And it just kind of stinks that the sport's going the direction it's going because they're going to miss out on some of the benefits that the athletes before them received.
Again, I don't want to say anything against these athletes. I'm not. They're all respectable. They're all good athletes. The professional field, -2, is missing entirely from the men's and women's side. It doesn't mean these aren't the next wave of pros. Outside of 2, maybe 3 women, none of them have proven it. And outside of 1 man, none of them have proven it. Isaac has proven it in other venues, and I believe he's about to prove it here. But just going on historical record, we don't have a pro field here. And I don't think that's debatable.
Right. So we'll just have to see how this whole thing plays out. Utah is a traditional stop along this series of the past. So we'll get to
how long has it been going back to? I'd say 2018 or 19 in the national series race. Because there was that year where Ryan Kent decided to destroy everybody on the sandbag carry within like the first mile.
And then what happened?
Yeah. I think that was 18. That was the year of Woods. So I think that was 18.
I ran it in 19. And I think it was
okay.
but I think it may have changed
Is
venues.
that Johnny?
Johnny's
That was
year.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was a super, I believe, the year I ran it.
Can you guys realize that 2019 was the year of Johnny Lunalima when he broke out? Like that's 6 seasons ago, and we still talk about his impact on the sport, like his downhill. That's 6 years ago. That's unreal.
Right.
I don't like that.
Also, Johnny started to roll again on the trail series.
He is.
No, we probably won't see him out at Utah. Probably won't see him out here, but it is a course at a ski resort. You get a lot of gain. I was thinking the weather was going to be nice because on this side of the Rockies, on the eastern slope, it's going to be a nice weekend. I just checked the weather. Over on the west side, it is going to be hot. It is going to be near 100, and I was hoping that they would get a better crack at this thing, but being very hot, very dry. And it's that seems to be the story of this race the past several years anyway. So who's going to be able to handle the altitude, the heat, and the crazy ascent? Usually it's like a 2 mile plus.
That was one of
to
the
the top.
worst. I mean, I rabbited a handful of races. That was one of the worst stretches of rabbiting I've ever done. Like it was so nasty.
How did you have enough sunscreen?
It's an early enough one. Actually, you want to know what? I have one of those vests, and I put 2 carry-on ones. I have a spray and then a stick that I can do. So
not water bottles in the chest pockets. Just
no. I'll get water. I'll get water in between.
Yeah. Who needs water? Sun protection.
If I had to choose an ultra to not do, it would be Utah. You are
in the
guaranteed
summer
to be hot and exposed the entire time.
It is. There's a lot of exposure. Not very many.
And at altitude,
tree cover.
If you're
and
not used to
altitude.
that.
I would.
Everyone
love
who
this course
finishes
now.
this is the truth.
Yeah.
This course is not for the faint of heart.
Now, 2 years ago on the women's side, I remember Emma Cook-Clark. That was the race that she won. Lindsay was not here. And then we had an epic 3-way battle. And I believe it was Rhea, Chris Rogloski, and Rose, the 3 of them battling for second place. That honestly, all that we want is good racing, regardless of which names show up. And I think that we might be able to have a similar situation happening this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be. There's obviously ups and downs in this course, and a lot of places for people to use their strengths.
And what wasn't that?
Together.
Wasn't that the year? So Hawk Hall ended up winning it in 2022, and then there was like a real close finish between Atkins and Tyler Veerman, and Rylan was up there for a little bit, and then he got sick or something.
I think that's where he hurt his.
Yeah,
that's where he broke his foot
On the second to last obstacle.
No.
Yeah.
That was 21. That was the first year that we saw him.
Okay.
That was 21.
Yes, that was the first year I saw him.
Hawk let out and faded.
Yep.
Almost passed out on the tire flip.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's some history here. We know this course. It'll be visually will be similar to what we've seen in the past. So we'll be able to take some stories out of this for sure.
Yeah. And in the lack of the top end pro field doesn't mean this is less compelling to watch. Because what I was super excited for the last chance meets, last chance qualifiers for High Rocks, and the very top weren't there. And they were fantastic races. It often opens the door for people to be up and pushing, and you get even a more compelling race sometimes because the top dogs aren't there. So don't let this dissuade you from watching. There's still going to be really good athletes out there, and they're going to be clumped up and fighting for something they haven't had before. So it's
Yeah,
going to be
and
good racing.
that last chance qualifier, that was a real good example right there. Because I remember one of the things that we talked about, it's like no woman is used to leading a race when
Yeah.
Meg or Lauren isn't there. And we saw it was just different. It just different tactics. So I think that without having Annie there, who's won the first 2 races of the national series, that's going to change things because she's far and away the best climber in the women's sport who's still around.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and now that we're talking about the athletes, let's talk about some athletes that we are interested in seeing how they play out this weekend. Jack, give us a name here.
All right. On the men's side, I think the heavy favorite is Isaac Sanderson.
Go on.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. Okay. If you
Well,
want.
well, Isaac's interesting, right? Because in terms of fitness, he would probably have an advantage over most of these athletes in the field from what we know. We've seen him do really well in Deka. We've seen him do really well in ultra and 2 ultra events. I don't know this specific style of course, how it would work for how Isaac would fare based on
Isaac,
the heat, the altitude.
Isaac won it last year.
Well, there we go.
The same course. He's good.
That makes it,
we know he's
easy.
good. Yeah. It took him 2 hours, 21 minutes. And I think that a lot of the top guys were like in the low 2 teens or so back in the day. So like he can run. He's we obviously know Isaac, his well-roundedness. He's probably in the conversation of the top 2 or 3 most versatile athletes in hybrid and OCR at the moment. But the thing about him, it's like, how hard is he going to push? Because he's actually flying to Fort Wayne, Indiana the next day to compete in the Deka Ultra. So nice little warm up.
Isaac doing Isaac things.
Isaac things.
So, Rich, Jack, I want to pose a question to you. I think in situations where we have crossover athletes who bring different skill sets to the table, the only logical thing is to do Madden style attribute point ratings.
Okay.
So, what would you rank Isaac as in hybrid? Scale of 1 to 100.
1 to 100.
Deka or High Rocks, or just you're lumping that in a single.
I put him somewhere
category.
89 to 91.
I was gonna say 90 plus or minus 2.
Okay, what is he in Deka?
90,
92, 93.
94.
I was gonna say 95 and probably like
95.
88 to
He's
90
broken 30.
High Rocks. So I'm confident with a 90 to 92 overall.
This sounds like a ranking system I used to have.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about Elmer in Tough Mudder or ultra distance? What would you count him?
Elmer King is probably he'd
90
probably
to 92?
losing in stay power, but real high up there in speed with his opening 12 hours.
I think I'd put him 88.
What about his? Doesn't he have 3 ultra wins? 4?
Yeah,
in the last
he's won like
calendar year
New
for Spartan?
Jersey. He's won. I think he won Killington. Guy can race.
Put him around a 90, right?
Yeah.
And what
Didn't
about
have the best day in Morzine, but he's still very solid.
What about Ethan Brown? What's his OCR number?
20 something win or podiums last year, set the North American record, and he's unreal on obstacles. Like I've seen that guy do like ninja style courses. Ethan's actually coming to stay with me for a few days after the race, a couple days later, and he's gonna there's a course in Colorado Springs that he's gonna be training at because he's going down to Costa Rica to do the FISO.
Nice.
But yeah, I would say like obstacle proficiency, that guy's close to a 99 truly. But other race tactics, yeah, he's high 80s, right around 90.
88-ish?
Yeah.
88.
Probably.
Yeah.
So you got 3 guys who, according to our very scientific method here, are all plus or minus 90. And they're all coming together on like that middle ground course. Balin's dropping down. Isaac's kind of right, moving up a little bit.
Is Balin showing
really?
up? I didn't see him on the list.
Elmer.
Sorry, Elmer.
I was like, Balin.
Elmer's dropping down. Isaac moving up slightly, and Ethan moving up a little bit. Like it's a good meeting ground. I like it.
Yeah, this is true. I think those are the 3 names to really look out for. And now that you have their attributes, I think
that'll be a fun episode one time. We do a Madden rating like that.
Oh, we could break it down even further, right? You did like the obstacle proficiency.
I get it. We're gonna do
ability.
So I do this with the athletes I coach for World's Toughest Mudder. At the start of the base building, we go, give me who the 99 in every attribute is in this sport. So like obstacle, like pure obstacle ability, it was always like Aaron Newell or VJ or someone like that. And then obstacle like grip endurance, it was like Azar or Ryan Atkins. And we went across the board and then they had to rank themselves. And then every time throughout each block, we had to see, did you level up your edge? Because it's such a year to prep for world stuff. It's like you gotta gamify
that
it.
thing.
Need goals.
So I've got all my attribute profiles if you ever want to do a Madden.
Absolutely. We're doing that
Do it.
episode. There's going to be some killer. Yeah.
We'll have some time. We'll have some time. Yeah, I think those are the three names that are really going to be interesting to kind of follow. And if there were odds on it, those would probably be the top three finishers.
Yeah.
So
there are a few other names on the list who honestly have a chance of doing pretty well. Zach Jarvis, he got a bunch of podiums back in the day, or not a bunch, but probably 3 to 5. And he was based in Utah. I think he lives in New York now, but he did ultras for a while. He's a pretty fast guy. I don't know what his shape is these days. Mike Higuera, who's an age grouper, always placing well when you combine age group and elite times together. I think he could end up doing well. I thought that was he in the 50 to 54 age group or 45 to 49, but he's always like up there with Cole DeRosa. So that could be something to look at. And that's one other thing to mention. Like, this is also an age group national series, right?
I believe so.
So I think that if they just combined all the heats like they do in a regular race, like you'd see a little bit more recognizable names in this. But because of the people want to do their own age division during this race, they're obviously going to stay there instead of hopping over to elite for this.
Dustin Needham.
Yep.
It's another guy who can have success out there.
Yep. He was around 10th or so for Big Bear. So yeah.
But here's the real question. We just saw Hobie Call run 15, 17, 16 in a 5K, and he lives in Utah. Is there a chance he shows up?
Do you think maybe one of the hosts here may have asked his son about that?
Who?
Let's ask that host.
I asked Hawk Call and I said, you should tell your dad to come out of retirement and do it. I heard he ran a fast 5K recently. And he said he's tried convincing him several times. Not going to happen.
Dang.
Shoot. 47 running 15 teens with his
he wins.
Wizardry on course. He wins.
Yeah.
He wins.
So speaking of Hawk Call, who's won this race before and got second another time and is just on another level right now, climbing especially, he said that he is, I don't know what race it is, but he's doing a race on Friday. So the day before, 6,000 feet of gain, 19 miles. He's like, I might show up if I have any legs in me. And
he still wins. Yeah. Back to back.
He just took second at USA Trail Championships and the at the Cirque Series.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he's either one of those guys.
Sixth at Broken Arrow. Like, his running is the real deal right now.
Yeah.
How about on the women's end? Well, first, how do you guys do if you're in this field?
I really think Isaac is he's kind of that guy. I think that if you plug him into these past fields with all the pros there, he's one of them now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think he probably still wins.
With you in there?
Right now, in a mountain at altitude, yeah, I think Isaac gives me the work.
Well, we gotta see where Isaac would land on the all-time list then.
And I have never raced Elmer.
17.
I have no clue how
the thing about Elmer is he just traveled across the ocean to do Morzine, and that's not an easy one to recover from. Like 2 weeks, I'm sure he's going to be fine compared to most people, but those are not ideal circumstances. But Isaac, he flies everywhere. He's on like a plane every single day, basically, living out of hotel rooms practically. So he's probably not feeling, or he doesn't have the ideal buildup either.
Yeah, that 2 week turnaround from a very mountainous ultra is not enough.
Not enough. Yeah.
No. What about you? How do you stack with Ethan, Jack?
I was ahead of him until I missed my spear at Big Bear.
So you'd be in the mix.
Jack's on the podium.
I'm actually going to be in Utah this weekend. I'm just going to be canoeing in Canyonlands.
And I'd probably be walking it in.
Yeah.
It's a long go.
Long run.
Realistically, without doing enough research, there were probably a couple of really good climbers in here that I'm just not as familiar with, but I'd say top 5 should happen.
Rich,
I live at altitude.
I'm winning on the way up. The way down, I'll probably end up closer to 7th or 8th.
You ran this course before, right?
Only the super. So I've done the big
Okay.
ascent,
So you haven't done the 2,000 feet descent in a row type of.
but I like it. It's not technical
Not
on the way up.
not on
Well,
the beast.
I
I
guess
remember
some
some.
was. I
There
guess
was some 30% grade like for probably 4 or 5 minutes in a row. Like it was nasty
Light.
for part of it. Like
Easy.
They had
I've
a
seen you
relay
run it for
race.
Carson.
2-man. One goes up, one goes down. You and I. Are there 2 in this field that beat us?
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Me and Rich.
Oh, Jack is bringing that heat, man. We're gonna see
bringing
about
it.
this
Yeah.
High Rock Chicago showdown.
Damn right.
It's happening.
I'm getting all my poops out of the way before the race. It's gonna be great.
You guys gonna be in that first wave?
I don't think there's a chance I get
I don't.
in that first wave.
Right. Yeah.
They're big heats. They're 30 to 50 people.
I don't think I want to be in that first wave.
What? I need to get a
think
ticket still.
Bracken, we're going sub 65 there. Like
Well,
we're
yeah.
doing it.
But does that get you in the first heat?
Yeah,
I don't think there are
There's
30,
gonna be a lot of boys racing
30
this.
plus people. Yeah.
They're gonna look at our feet and they're like Rebellion Pro, first heat, first row.
Ultra. Let's
Topo,
go.
Ultra.
third.
Yeah, get stepping.
Yeah, you're out of here.
And then I'll pass Bracken later on at the 10-minute start.
Ooh,
Just kidding. Well, that would be that would be a absolute
Jack, I'm starting to get a little
implosion.
fit over here.
Same here.
You might be in
All
trouble.
right, here we go. I like that.
Rich, make sure it doesn't happen.
This will be the odds. We're gonna
Yeah.
have like the.
This might be the
ultimate
race of the
head-to-head.
year. Yeah,
For us, for sure.
We should
Oh,
draft.
absolutely. Rich, you showing
Just
us
us
up to
three.
Chicago? Yeah.
I need. I think so. I need to get a ticket. It's been sold out. So anybody out there, holler at your mans if you need.
Hey,
If
make
you
me
got
an
a ticket.
offer.
No, you're racing.
Bracken's trying to get out of this race
You're
so bad.
I mean, I'm-
racing.
$5 is $5.
You're in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do all the races in the fall. Just kind of have to
Heck yeah.
do them all. All right, let's talk about the women's side. Jack, give us an
Speaking
athlete.
of high rocks,
Give us an athlete to watch, Jack.
Lauren Weeks.
Wow.
Lauren Weeks, Utah's own, is going to be competing in this. She competed in Utah at a beast, I think 2022, and she got 7th place.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll be interesting. She just did a trail race, I
Mhm.
believe.
She
It
won
looked
it.
more like rolling gravel. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, but I don't think it was.
This is
The redoubt.
fascinating to me
She does fairly well.
because Rose, I believe, is like the ultimate litmus test for the women's pro field.
What's a line?
She has seen it all. She has done it all. She's super consistent with her racing. And at these altitude mountain races, she has been that like leader of the next pack behind whoever's out. Annie,
Mhm.
Lindsay, Emma, whoever. Rose is always with that next pack, no matter who it is. She's pushing, holding on, or leading that. And so everyone gets to judge themselves against that. And if Lauren can go with her, Lauren's legit, like in a mountain beast. And it's nice that we have Rose here. That we
I
can
don't think it's
like we said in Utah. I mean, in Big Bear, we didn't have anyone to compare. Well, KBB for Hawk, like we have Rose to compare every performance to, and that will shed light on what really happened out there.
Now, I don't think it's a matter of if she goes with Rose. I think Lauren doesn't know how to hold, not know how to hold back, but
I can't.
that's not
can't.
her style. I think she will probably be leading this initial climb.
Neither of them love descending.
That's the descent.
Mm-hmm. And this is not a core. Like I was rabbiting the women's race, and Rhea, unbelievable climber. She did not like that descent. Chris, absolutely bombing down last time that I was out there. Rose, she's pretty tentative on very steep stuff. She's very good on like the rolling sub 10% grade, but once it gets a little bit steeper, she's pretty tentative. But she always ends up finding herself towards the front no matter what.
So yeah, I think it'll be interesting with Lauren in the field. We've seen that she clearly doesn't have any fear. And if this is a fitness test, I mean, we know Lauren is one of the fittest in the world, full stop, anything that we're talking about.
Mhm.
But the technicalities of these races and like the undulation of the effort seems to beat her up a little bit. Even last year at Palmerton, where on like a shorter effort with some climbing, just like the OCR of it all can kind of take it out of her. So, but on a dry course, she's gonna be sleeping at home. She's gonna be familiar with this terrain. I think she should do really well.
Yeah.
And other names you got to mention are Julie Best, who is local there, Casey Monroe, who has been a
Two
top
podiums so far.
10 athlete
Yeah.
in across several years at this point. And who else on here, Jack?
Oh, you say Faye Morgan?
Faye Morgan for sure, a vet.
Lock
She's
for
gonna
a top 10.
10, no
Like
doubt.
in that
Kelsey
8
Gill
to 10
also
range.
coming back.
Cassandra is pulling an Elmer where she was over in Morzine.
She did well.
She did, I think, 5th place. And then Jordan Housesladen, she was in the mix for Jacksonville.
Hustladen. Say more
What,
German.
Lisa
Bro.
Masaccio.
Lisa
And
Masaccio.
I was saving her for the end. I think
Ah.
Lisa is the athlete who's going to put her name on the map this year. Like
Mhm.
she got 4th in Big Bear. Ton of wins, ton of podiums. She won that Canadian National Series race that OCR report had. And I just think that it's a shame that many of the athletes are not here so she can get a good comparison. But honestly, this is a pretty solid field for the women's side. And I wouldn't be surprised to see her on the podium.
I think she's on the podium. I think this is Rose's race.
So
to
Rose
win.
got 2nd in 2022 at the Big Bear Beast. Took her 2:34.
Yeah. This is her race, but I think Musacchio is right with her the whole way.
Mhm.
And then it's that Best and
I think it's
Morgan and Musacchio.
I think with like a K sound, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
She'll let us
And
know.
Lauren.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Lauren's a wild card.
Yeah, well, and Lisa's one of these athletes that we're talking about. Like, we're going to see athletes on the men's side emerge the way that Lisa has on the women's side. I'm looking at this field, and she's a name that sticks out because I know of the results that she's had, right?
Mhm.
So that's why this women's field looks a little bit deeper and better because we're seeing the results of these athletes emerge in this like
Mhm.
newer kind of field.
Yep.
So is this the best race that she's lined up in, Jack, in terms of Spartan?
Competition. I'd say you don't have any, but I would say yeah, probably the best Spartan. It's better than Big Bear.
Rose isn't a gatekeeper by any means, but this is the gatekeeping test for her. This is her, like she won the Canadian National Series event. I don't care who's there. You win a national event that means something, but now she finds out what does it mean against someone who's been at the very top. And that's really exciting to always find out with a prospect.
Yep.
Yeah, this women's field I'm excited about this women's field.
This is the race. If you've got, an odd number of cameras for OCR report, I would recommend them putting it on the women's field because I think that or putting the extra camera if you have one on the
Strap
women's
a
field for those
GoPro to
battles.
Isaac and just
The
put
men's
the
field
rest
could
out.
really string out.
Yeah.
I think there will be compelling battles on the women's side.
It's a little deeper, for sure.
Yep. And Bracken, I thought that you mentioned in our group chat, you were like, is this the time that Rose ends up getting her winning in a national series race? So she actually won in 2014 Tuxedo. She won Washougal also, and then 2015 Montana. Yes. But since then, she has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 third places and 2 second places. And Big Bear as well. So yeah, she's got over a dozen second and third places since then. We'll see what happens.
So OCR report will have the coverage here,
Mhm.
so we can check that out.
Tape delay,
Imagine
good
it's gonna be tape
quality.
delay. Great. So it'll be
Once I come back from the canoe trip, I'm gonna on Monday night. I'm gonna help with the broadcast. Bracken likely I don't know what his internet situation with the camping trip,
he's
but
busy.
hopefully. But Rich, if Bracken bails, would you be interested?
Busy
All right,
as can be.
we'll find a way to make it happen.
All right, real quick before we move along, we're going to talk about some Deka Ultra. BK, what do you think about these guys here?
In
seen
general
these?
or for
Should I
Deka
sign
Ultra?
off or?
Not for Deka Ultra. We're talking about some mountain racing. We got the
Yeah.
Hoka Tecton X3. I just saw the visuals of this thing. What do
I
you
think
think?
they're going to be the truth.
Gator, you down with this built-in Gator?
I am. Yeah, because there are enough ultra courses out there that you really want to have something on anyway. And when they just make this built in, it is so much less hot. And then it drains so much better.
Mm.
So I am a fan of that. Yeah. I believe they're
Tread, I'm
going
not.
to offer it. I could be wrong on this, but I thought they were going to offer a non-gator version on a later release. But the 1 and the 2 are fine shoes. I think this is going to be a really good shoe.
Go back to underneath. Let's look at those grips. Is that Vibram?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Light base.
I've never been a fan of the traction on that. That's why I don't like Ultra for trail shoes.
Yeah, these
Oh,
aren't
'cause
your
they have
muddy
the Vibram.
core shoe for sure.
Yeah.
No,
They're
no.
West Coast.
Piba midsole.
They had dual layer last time, and this time they just have, I think it's all Piba.
Yeah, it says dual density Piba, so it's still gonna have the 2 layers, but they're both gonna be Piba this time, and it sounds like it gets a little bit lighter too.
All
Yep.
you need to do is know that Jim Walmsley's mentioned twice in that paragraph. So
Mr.
probably a good shoe.
Walmsley.
Mister.
Is this price point? This wasn't the. What was it last year?
Inflation.
225.
225. So they threw $50 on this thing.
Yeah, they doubled the Piba and retooled the upper.
It looks nice though, BK.
This stack
it.
might be over. What is this over 40?
Does it matter for trail?
No. It's right at
Oh,
40.
right at.
40.
I don't
No,
know
there's
if I'd
no
want a
rules on
high
the trail.
one for trail.
The drop's low.
Yeah, which is key, I think. It's also why the plate will never do much.
I think this would be a good Utah shoe.
Available in August. So let's see how that works.
I think
You
it'd be
could
good
buy
Utah
a
shoe.
version of this at Western States.
All right, that's all. Just wanted to talk about shoes.
Eventually, I'll
there.
have those on my
Sprinkling in there a
the
little bit.
dogs.
Oh, one other shoe thing. I'm even bringing it up. What was that? The Saucony Endorphin Pro 3s that I sent you. They're on a big sale, and that's a highly recommended shoe by the both of you.
Jack is stepping on BK's corner with these discount shoes, just sharing
move
them
on.
out there.
I like it.
Running Warehouse, it's like $150 instead of $250. Those are ones I'll let you take over because I have
They-
no
they
idea.
are
You know what
top
happens when
off.
someone comes into your trap and starts distributing? You got to run up on them.
Got to check them.
Uh,
All right, Jack.
I'll see you in Chicago.
check 'em.
Yeah.
Jack's all up
Yeah.
in your shit today, BK.
Mm-hmm.
The disrespect is insane.
All right.
Nothing to
We're
say.
moving on to Deka.
On to Indiana we go for DEKAFIT Fort Wayne, the first ever ultra event. This is going to be interesting, I suppose is a good way to put it. I kind of like the idea. So what this is, and correct me if I have some of the details wrong. It's just 5 DEKAFITs, right?
Correct. In a row with the transition, no fuel or water is allowed on the course. So you do that in between laps.
In the there's like a transition zone.
You can't bring anything with you?
I think
Not
that's
what I
fair.
said.
I think that's fair.
Is that even a rule for a regular? You can't have like a belt?
I think it's more of the
Need a belt for
you don't
it.
want the floor to get nasty and stuff. Like
That's why
They might be using it wrong.
200 meter course gets
Yeah.
wet, or 250 meter course on
I
concrete.
mean, it's going to be from sweat. 25K? This is going to be a sweat management issue as much as anything at this course.
Yeah. Better have that air conditioning on.
You
Okay.
need those
So
jet dryers.
pit crew support is allowed in the pit zone and or festival area. And then it says food and hydration support is only allowed in the pit stop zone. I'm interpreting that as you have to eat or drink inside the pit area.
I'm not buying it.
I think that's fair though.
I think that's
get,
support only. I
A
think you can have
competitor,
a bottle in your pocket and go.
it
yeah, I
says a
think-
competitor DEKA pit stop zone will be added to the course, and each competitor is provided a small space in the pit stop zone for support items, food, hydration, and pit crew support staff.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the actual consumption then, right?
I'll text Yancey and I'll get an answer.
Got questions? We don't got answers. But this is the first of its kind. We're looking at the weather there as well. I mean, it's an indoor event, but still, it's only going to be 80 in Fort Wayne. I would imagine humidity is going to be popping off, but not extremely hot. But I would imagine it's just definitely going to be a bit of a war of attrition when we're fighting off dehydration in an event like this. And just that long on a concrete floor and just that many turns. The turns are what would be the most concerning for me.
Cerns? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's going to be a sweaty floor.
Well, seriously, if you think of the turns, so 250 meters, so 25,000 because it's a 25K divided by 250, you're doing 100 laps, and that's 400 turns.
Minimum.
But that doesn't include turning in and out of the zone also. And these are all, I reckon this is up your alley. These are all left turns, just like Braden.
They're never switching directions.
I can't imagine you would.
That's just so much on one side of your body. That would be, there's going to be some IT band issues when this thing
And this
ends.
is where shoe choice, not to go too far down, it matters because carbon plates are hard on your ankles turning. You're going to have to really round off these turns or choose a more cautious shoe.
Do you think like a cautious shoe that you lose a lot of that cushion, that forgiveness? You think like a
Even like
Skyward
a
X,
Clifton or yeah, like something.
you know? I mean, those do have a bit of a plate, but something that's stacked super high still. Because the pace that these athletes are going to be running, we're talking zone 2 pace, right?
Like aerobic threshold tops.
Yeah.
That is actually a question that I wanted to ask you guys about the winning times. Like, what type of pace are we going to see from these athletes?
Before we get there, let's talk about the actual athletes so
Sure.
that we can. There was a post made on DEKAFIT and the hybrid report where it has a couple athletes on here. Jack, I don't know if you have something a little bit more official. I'm just going to run through what these Instagram posts say. We got the Dylan Scott out here, as we would expect. First person whose name would come to mind is Dylan Scott. This is a regular day at the office for our guy. So we would imagine that he is going to be the man out here. Isaac Sanderson is, again, someone that we've mentioned, coming off of a beast effort in Utah. Grady Jackson, who we've seen take on a lot of these kind of hybrid events, but tilted to the side, whether it is something like Ultra or Go Ruck type of thing. Very strong, powerful athlete. Kevin Gregory Bubs. He's going to be hitting that 12 second cal each time.
Every
5
time.
times.
Times 5.
Sub 20 or kick him off the course.
He's got to go. He's too tired. Brian Neely, who we've seen in the Spartan circuit, Mark Paul Zine from Wisconsin, Derek York, Joe Rucco, Jared Francosa, and those are the main names.
I would say Tyler Krushenski, also from Canada. He can run.
Then Ryan Reed and Jonathan Stern were the names that were mentioned here. We saw Jonathan Stern do really well at Grit Games.
There's gonna be some people on this top 10 that aren't in that list too. This is an oddball event that's gonna pull a very specific skill set. And how is this Dylan's first ultra of like the last several years? How is
Didn't
he
exist.
Well, just in general.
Like, why is he not doing Ironman or running 50Ks or 100K? Isn't he made for, like, he trains like an ultra athlete.
We'll see.
If rowing was in there instead of swimming, he probably would.
So let's talk about the women real quick. Julie Best, Kelly Sullivan. Bethany
Julie also was mentioned in Utah.
Oh, that's true. She might be also pulling this back to back. Kelly Sullivan, again, she's similar to what we see from Grady. Maybe not from the running sense, but she'll do a lot of the hybrid events, CrossFit type stuff. Seen her in stadium. She'll just hop in and do anything that has
Stadium to
some
ultra,
grit
she is
to it.
versatile.
Yeah.
In that same bubbles
Yeah.
kind of zone, power-based endurance athlete.
Yep.
Bethany McChesney, who we've seen do really well in hybrid and OCR.
That's intriguing to me that she's here. I like it.
Yeah.
Jessica Lister, Hannah Francosa. Jack, you have something to say?
I was going to say Janelle Teal also. She's on the list.
Lisa Warzanowski. She is a hard-nosed athlete, like not going to be the fastest one out there, but in terms of grit, she has no problem doing. She does a lot of like the Go Ruck, High Rocks things, and she does pretty well there. So when it comes to added obstacles for a hybrid event, she's going to be a problem.
Rich, you just destroyed that pronunciation in a good way.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
WAWRZYNOWSK. Rich just didn't even stutter.
Consonants. So now let's talk about what we think is. Did you get any other names, Jack, that you wanted to mention?
Did you say Heather White?
No, I did not see Heather. She's not on this post.
Lauren Rentala.
Right, Lauren Rentala. Of course, Lauren Rentala. Heather White is going to be really kind of solid at this. She's a strong, powerful athlete who has been, I think, top 5 at Deka Strong, but has also been under 24 hours for 100.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of spans those like two sides as well.
Yeah. Elia
It's a good event for her.
Figueroa, she's often local regional podiums, on the Spartan scene. She could do well. I've seen Jessica Lister. I know that there was a Matt Lister probably like 6-7 years ago on the men's side. I'm not sure if they're husband and wife or not, but I know that there's a good ultra athlete with the last name Lister, and I'm not sure if I'm choosing him or her.
All right.
That's good
so
intel.
5 DEKAFITs. If you're going to do one DEKAFIT completely aerobic, where does that end up for you? Like if you're doing it in training, you're training for the day, 500
Hold
meter
on.
runs.
Hold on. Got an answer from Yancey. In terms
About
of
that,
fuel.
about what I just asked?
Yeah. No. About food and
Yeezys.
drink.
Oh,
Food and drink. Yeah. He said it's only allowed in the pits, which still have access to every single lap, and that's the way he's got it. So basically, like if you're done with the rower and you're like, I just need a drink, you can run over there.
you can
and
pop
do
in
it.
there
It sounds
every
like
lap. Okay.
instead
You
of
can't
waiting
run with it.
until your whole race.
Hmm.
Yep. And he
What do
said
you
you're just gonna peel right off the course, run, get your stuff. If you need to grab shoes or hydration or whatever, just you slip right back on the course. It's like a 10-second deviation with the slick concrete. They just didn't want water or
They should do it.
hydration to be an issue on the course.
What's it going to be like the exchange zone or the transition pit? Is it just going to be like
Be a mess.
a sponge? Is it going to be like a pool? Like what are you going to do?
Yeah.
How's that not going to get tracked back out onto the
I
course?
don't know.
Because the one thing also is
basketball sticky pads lining it.
this is smart. This is smart. That the one thing with it is these athletes are going to be also fighting like overheating. So cooling strategies need to be considered.
Mhm.
Generally, the way you're going to cool down is to soak yourself or cover yourself in some kind of colder liquid. So I don't know where that could take place. Maybe they'll have it.
Slippery.
Maybe they just make the transition zone outside. Put it on the concrete.
What's the best
Sponsored
shoe?
by ShamWow. They're gonna need it everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the best shoe for wet conditions? Best road shoe?
Wet conditions for concrete.
So I'm at. You guys know everything.
Adidas has good. Continental.
But then you're
Okay.
smoked. But then you're smoked on that tank every time.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
you need,
I
then you need
honestly
the
don't
basketball
think you
sticky
can
thing.
read into it. Maybe. What would you be wearing here, Rich?
I would probably wear those Skyward X's.
Yeah, I think you take your long tempo shoe.
Yeah, or like the Mach X.
Yeah.
Something that's gonna be comfy. Gonna give you a little bit of cush.
I might even wear something like the I don't know if I would, but I would consider something like the Trailfly Ultra.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess how the lugs could work. I don't
I
know.
probably wouldn't, but I'd consider it.
Wait, is that Innovate?
Nike.
Oh,
It's their
okay, 'cause I
trail
was
super shoe. I don't know. I don't know what I would do here.
Terrafly. That's Innovate.
Yeah.
Because I have
This is
those. I was like, wow.
The sweat thing, I keep coming back to it, but you're right. People are going to A, be drenched, and B, really want to be cooling down. But the fact that you can't carry it with you means it now becomes a strategy on how little do you fuel and get away with on this, rather than how do you most intelligently fuel. And that always can lead to boom or bust strategies, which is delightful in an ultra. So for the fans, it's exciting. For the athletes, it's going to be really frustrating to have to play that game because you're going to just give away time every time you enter the pit.
Yeah. I think that the pit also is going to be real important for something like lap counting, because race spraying is going to happen. It's definitely will. It happened
Every
to
Tuesday.
Nicole during the race. Yeah, every Tuesday. It happened to Nicole during her race. She miscounted her laps. It's happened a few other times for high level athletes in Deka, and I could easily see it happening here.
All right. So on the men's side, say that the 5K is done at 8-minute pace, conservatively, right? That would be pretty, just with the turns, with some stopping, that type. They're probably running faster than that, but the way it will all equal out. 8-minute
speed
pace.
up, slow down, you lose 30 seconds per mile type of pace. Yeah.
It's about 25 minutes for a 5K.
Mhm.
The zones, how, I'm like just ran it down real quick and just kind of rounded everything up to,
I think 40 minutes is the You got to be sub 40s if you want to contend here all day long.
40. Really?
I think you got to be sub 40s.
With the really, because when I did this, when I was looking at the zones real quick, okay, let's just say
minute 2 minutes across the board on the ergs.
2 minutes across the board. I said a minute for the lunges, minute for like the step overs, minute and a half for the sit ups, just if you're going slow. 2 minutes on the ski, minute 30 on the farmers.
So
very conservative.
You think people are still going 2 minutes on the ski, like in and out type of thing? Because a lot, like even
just
Nick Riker, he's 202, 203 during a race. Like
because he stinks.
That's true too. And I just think averaging 2 flat
display
all day long.
Right, say 210, add an extra 30 seconds.
Okay.
Because of it, yeah.
Okay. I was just checking.
2 on the bike.
I think it's
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 for everything. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit slower on the bike. And then it's 3 minutes for the tank. 2 minutes for burpees, maybe a little longer. Like
yeah, what does that put us at?
Over 18 minutes. So with the 25, yeah, it's like 43.
43. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I think Dylan and them are gonna be pushing for 40 or under.
Ooh.
I think it's sub 50 to be in the mix, and right around 40. I won't be shocked if they go under 40 because he's not gonna be running 8-minute pace.
So you think a 3:35 is what it's going to be roughly? 3 hours, 35 minutes?
That's what that would be.
I'm targeting 3.5 to 3:45 for that podium range.
Interesting. Okay.
Jack, you got thoughts?
I mean, people can run aerobically in this field at 6:20 to 6:30.
All right.
I see Dylan getting out and rolling in this.
He's going to run faster. He's going to run faster than 8-minute miles.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
So if you're taking 2 minutes off right there, that's a 41.
All right, Rich, let me see the screen. Let me share the screen.
What can he row and ski aerobically? 150?
155?
155?
Yeah, totally.
All right. So
just muscularly what this would do over the course of the time.
Right. There's going to be people cratering.
I've got some thoughts.
There's going to be some crampage.
So I was thinking, all the is that not sharing my screen?
I see it.
Okay, Excel. So yeah, an 8K, a lot of people are going to be pretty close to what they are for a DEKAFIT time. Or we can use that like 30 minutes as a time domain, right? For like a Isaac or Dylan, a couple of the faster guys. A 30-minute 8K is worth a 2:59 marathon. And if you look at like the pace drop between those two distances, you drop about 13% between the two of those.
I like where you're going.
So what I did is I looked at Isaac's times and I was like, okay, what did he do in Anaheim? What did he do in Sacramento? Let's just look at the average because he went right around plus or minus 10, 15 seconds at 30 minutes for those two races. And I was like, oh, let's take a look at what those would, if we add 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, whatever percent to it. And so if we do that 13%, that comes out to 249. And then you add in, a minute of pit throughout the race times 5. So I think it's going to actually be closer to like 255.
All right.
I think 3 to 320.
320. Okay.
Now, if someone beats that, it's not shocking.
I could see someone going under.
Yeah.
So what would that take what would that be each time?
So that basically 13% drop would be about 20 minutes, 2007 to 2017. So like 6:30 pace for the runs.
You're thinking a 34 minute?
No, 36. 36 times
minutes
5. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if they're running 30, that like a 15% extra would be about a 35-minute. And if the marathon drop off equivalent is about 13%, let's call it 15 for this, because it's not like a linear, you just keep going, you hold that pace. You're going to break down a little bit during this type of race. But
maybe not. Maybe less.
Maybe less?
Maybe less, because there's just you're using different things. When you're running, it's just like running.
Yeah. But
one thing breaks down, then you're toast.
Yeah. So let's just use some round numbers. So Like Isaac, he was doing the zones typically in like 12 teens. He'll probably be close to like 14 for these. You're not gonna, I wouldn't recommend busting out burpees at, 115 or faster like this. That I think that's gonna be somewhere where people fade a lot. But if you can like stay intentional on your bike and just kind of coast in on the ski erg and the rower, I think that you can pick your points where you're not going to lose as much time. Just go through the motion on the lunges, go through it with the step overs. You don't need to like race it, and then just kind of get in and out quickly like you would during a normal race. I think that sub 3 is possible.
Sub 3 is possible. I think 15% slower is about like the ceiling of what someone could do. Running at 85% of their Deka would be like superhuman performance to me. And that's not accounting for any transition time.
Yeah. Well, the run time includes transition time and
no, I'm talking about fueling,
nutrition stuff.
Well, really, you only have 4 stops because you're probably not gonna if you do it at the end of each race. Because what's the typical fueling strategy? It's like 30 to 40 minutes. That's probably
but indoor with humidity race. Like this, people are just going to want to take drinks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like it's not going to be the cleanest, like it's not going to be a straight line. It's not going to be a water table sitting there. You're going to have to get into something and out. So
that's the thing that we haven't seen it. So we don't know how much time, but I think I would agree with BK on this. I would err on the side of it being longer and kind of slower.
It probably will.
Transitions.
Realistically, I'm listing out like here's what happens when you bump up in distance for running. Let's see what would happen with that same bump up percent. I
agree with that
in Deka, and that's kind of where I'm getting this. So this like 252 doesn't include slowing down or getting you just break down a little bit during a race like this, or you have to run a little bit slower because there's a lot of sweat and everything. So I could easily see factors like that plus the pit stops adding up for sure.
But I like where you're at.
No one's done this before also. So just think of the first time that Hunter ran a High Rocks or anybody ran a High Rocks and then what it became later. It's like you do this a couple of years in a row and that's when I think you might see closer to these style times versus what we'll actually see. But sub 3, 255, like I think it's within Dylan, within Isaac to pull that off.
I believe there are several people who can run sub 3. The issue, I think, and I keep saying sweat, but like think of the indoor workouts you've done on sleds. That's where the sweat starts pouring. It's not while you're running. It's while you do your sleds. It's while you do farmer's carry. That's the sit-ups. That's when you start dripping. And these are all zones where there's no getting away from it. Like the sit-up drip spot is going to become a puddle and the ball is going to get soaked. The farmer's carries are going to get soaked. The sled's going to turn into a slip and slide. So this course will degrade across the board as it goes. On the rower, does it matter much?
Nah.
Skier handles are going to get
get nasty.
Yeah.
I
mean, this is glove course for sure. But
yeah,
every course.
So if you look on the Zendesk, the age group heats, all age groupers go off from 7:30 to 9, and then elite goes off between 2:30 and 2:30. So most of the age groupers are going to be mostly done by the time, or not necessarily mostly done, because 5 hours is actually pretty impressive for a finishing time for a decent amount of those, honestly. So I would say the course has a chance of being cleaned up a little bit, and hopefully they have some like dry mops and stuff just throughout, just making sure the corners don't get out of hand and stuff, because I could see that obviously being an issue. But I don't think it's going to be as congested since they're sending off the fast people towards the end when most of the others are done or getting close to finishing.
So this is a Sunday event where the regular fit is on Saturday. Is there coverage of this?
I'd hope so.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, someone's gonna be doing it.
Burpee broad jumps in Worlds this year. The age group people were talking about how it was like super saturated, just gross. And in New York City as well.
I'm sure.
Like that's what we're gonna be facing here.
Yeah. So you just mentioned that Saturday is the regular race. There are actually some good names who are signed up for it. Like Mark Paulzin's signed up for both. I don't think that it would be in his best interest if he wants to potentially podium and make some money in the ultra to do the time before, but he also was involved in that controversy where it's like, hey, you've got some good people here, only top 15 make worlds. Like, here's your chance to make it. So he signed up for that. Austin Tenelsoff, Cole Walkington, Kevin Gregory, Will Shoemaker, Dylan Scott, Dustin Rutter, Joshua Gonzalez, Nick Riker. Like, you've got some pretty fast people in the
Hope they don't do
regular
it.
DEKAFIT. I bet several of
Really
them.
hope they don't.
They'll do it.
But there's prize money for that one also, I imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
But
promised prize money.
Yeah,
But the
William
women's
Hopper. The women's definitely a much smaller field. They're all doing the ultra. But Morgan Schultz, she's the one.
Mhm.
She just needs to get into worlds.
I just remembered this from last year, right?
Mhm.
That this course was on a track.
Ooh.
It was on an indoor facility that had an all-weather track,
That'll help.
which definitely changes things for the ultra in terms of slippage
It's not going to
and
slip
for
as much.
turns and for turns too. Having more
And maybe
gradual
worse
worse
turns.
You've run in the rain and track. It's not that bad.
Those tight corners versus like a gradual
No,
corner.
I'm saying on your body.
Oh man,
It's not banked, right?
I'm on
I
board
don't
with
think
the,
so.
the 90-degree turns are bad, but you know they're bad and you approach them as such. Indoor track, you kind of just run it, and then like 10 laps later, you're like, man, my hip hurts.
maybe yeah.
You know, so it sneaks up on you in a sneaky way.
I'm just
Sneaky
wondering
sneak.
if this is on an indoor track, like you either have 400, 200, or 160 meter tracks. Like, do they have a 250 meter track?
No.
I'm wondering how the laps work in that case.
Maybe you run in lane 9.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not exactly sure where Dylan's fitness is. I know he had made some kind of post that he has still kind of dealing with that lower leg, ankle, Achilles situation, which would definitely throw a wrench into it.
Yeah.
And this being the first of its kind where it comes to ultra events for like a hybrid fitness race. And we talked about this a little bit last week when we were talking about the ultra in Morzine.
Well, I think there was one, the Dust to Glory also, right?
This is like the first
Yeah.
like official one, right?
Branded.
That-
Yeah.
yeah, Dust to Glory. They are a gym that is doing really cool stuff, and they've done this at
Yeah.
like their gym.
Just
site,
wanted to
right?
give them a shout out, but yeah.
Great, that's appropriate. And the similar to kind of how like an Ironman started was just kind of like dudes doing it for a triathlon, and we talked about that a little bit last week. So now, like, let's talk a little bit about the stay power for something like this and what we think it would actually look like when it comes to ultra hybrid racing, because the Ironman's kind of a mainstay. It's a big event for triathletes. So thinking about if this could possibly be an avenue where this could help grow the sport, where it could attract athletes into the sport, but does it need to look like this? And I guess the first question that I want to ask when talking about an ultra for hybrid is like, what are we trying to test? What are we looking for here?
What do you think? That's
You answer
it's an
my
interesting question.
with a question. I haven't thought about that. I just thought about the questions.
Yeah, neither have I.
I don't think we're testing anything specific. Like, no one said I need to know who the best at doing Deka 5 times is. That's not what
what would not for this in particular.
It's
If we were
great.
to make one, if we were to develop one, race brand, hybrid ultra.
Oh,
What Deka's doing, they're just doing it because they're just like, what's something else that we could, like, typical Spartan fashion? What's something else? Okay, let's do that. Like, it's this, yeah, this means nothing.
Well,
But if
when
we
you
were to
think about
develop
it,
something,
that like they're just appealing to a decent audience of their market. Like, there are a bunch of people who do ultras, and hybrid is the hot new thing. So I think that it no one else is doing it. Why not put it on?
right? That's what they think, and that's what they always do. And then it's like, then they have a bazillion different arms,
Yeah.
for things that they're just like, hey, what would be cool? This. But if we were to like actually create something, what are we looking for here?
I don't think it's any different than any other ultra. Really, what you're testing is like to the death, who would win? Like,
Just
who
that
can
grit.
run and be the last person out there? Or if you had to get from this town to this town because of a horrific plane crash, you had to run for help. Like, could you do it?
With a
I think
rower
this
on
is
your
like,
back.
could you work everyone else around you into the ground? Could you just hang on longer? It's not useful in real life, but it's nice to know what the extremes of human performance are. I think that's all you're ever testing in an ultra.
Yeah.
So
which is cool enough.
Which is cool enough, right? And would it look the same way, right? Like, how would you want an ultra hybrid to look like? Would it be indoors like this? Would it be more point to point like a triathlon? And how could like the hybrid fit into it? Or would it be mixed modalities the whole time? Or would it be, because going back to Dylan Scott, I think he had some sort of challenge he was going to do on his own, where he's going to do a marathon run.
Yep.
Bro, it would do like a marathon run, then he was going to do a marathon ski, and then a marathon.
Do you have a ghost
row,
behind you? Your door keeps opening, or is that
trying to get this dog? Trying to get this dog.
Oh, yeah.
He's just chilling. So Dylan was going to do that triple marathon. So what do we think? Is that the avenue you'd want to go? That's more like a triathlon, though.
I like the indoor nature of it because it's super spectator friendly, as opposed to World's Toughest Mudder, where you see them once every 5 miles, and then you change their socks for them and send them out, and then you don't see them again for another hour to 2 hours. Like, I think this is a really cool format for it.
This is one of those, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer, because ultras are so dependent upon what makes people tick or what speaks to them. Like, we can agree that 100 meters is fast. We can agree that 100 miles is long, but like, what's the best ultra? Like, there's mountain ultra, there's road ultra, there's track ultra, there's like Ultraman, the triathlon. Everyone has their own niche, and I think that's good. Mine would be, I'd want to see people compete in all the hybrid things back to back. I'd want you to do a Deka and then do a Hyrox, you know, that kind of like that's what speaks to me. And maybe you're running venue to venue to do it. Again, the first Hyrox athlete is entering the Hyrox, kind of like we wanted to do a stadium run to the other stadium, run to the other stadium kind of thing. That speaks to me. But the idea of doing the Dylan style, where like you complete all of one thing and then all of the next, that's cool too. I don't think you could set an industry standard for hybrid ultra, because hybrid already can't decide on an industry standard. How would we standardize the ultra version? Should we prioritize running or work?
Do you think that Deka is the right event of the two big ones right now to do an ultra in? Because imagine doing like 800 wall balls or so, you know, just stuff like that in Hyrox, or
why not?
How many sets of burpee broad jump? Like, that would suck. But
people
I guess
run
there would be a
200
market.
miles. Yeah,
that's
like
true.
I don't think we should look at it like, oh, this would suck. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course it would suck. But
I'm saying is the 2 minutes in and out, or 3 minutes at a slower pace, whatever, is that the better style for something like this? Versus you might be like really on that course for a while for 1,000-meter runs after halfway through the race.
There's not really a strength element here. Almost none. And if I was going to put something in this, I'd want to, what's so appealing to Hyrox, you see big jack dudes doing it. We're like, oh yeah, maybe I could do something like this. You'd probably see big jack dudes doing really long events if there's actual strength pieces in there. Deka's more. This is going to be more. I think so.
You think you would see large athletes doing ultras?
Kevin Gregory.
Yeah, absolutely. If there was major strength pieces in there, why not?
Well, so give me an example of like, what is a major strength piece that you could do repeatedly for hours in and amongst endurance work that would like keep the strength people in it and not be dangerous to try to complete it 6 hours in, and not be
actually completable,
but still like do running and stuff in between. I'm not criticizing. I'm actually trying to wrap my mind around it.
I don't think that being completable, Jack, you seem to be stuck on like, oh,
no. I'm saying that like
hard.
If you throw in a 300-pound snatch, like now your race is done. You're not. I know you wouldn't do something like that, but I'm saying if there's something that is truly not passable, like for a strength element, that's a bad event choice.
Yeah. So that's the thing about ultras, is they allow slow people to do well, because if you're just willing to keep going, you can do it. Strength could provide a barrier to entry.
And just think of like the Boston Marathon, Heartbreak Hill. That's not a big hill, but that late into the race, it's really hard for a lot of people. And 55 pounds isn't that heavy, but late in the race, that's going to feel like a lot heavier. It will never
be heavy.
So what are we talking then? Give me an
55-pound reverse lunge will never, ever be heavy. You could do it for 24 hours and it won't be heavy. Like a sled push. Why not just a sled push? A 400-pound sled.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question then is, if we did a Hyrox Ultra, say 50K, or maybe not 50K, 25K.
Okay.
Would you do open or pro weight?
Pro.
All right, that seems horrendous.
Yeah, I'm bragging.
But that's what you're talking about for strong. Like it would
For
have to
strong.
be legitimately exerting, like grunting to do something.
Yeah, where this Deka, this seems more like an ultra running event.
To a
me.
strong guy, it would. To a runner, it would seem like a strength competition.
Yeah.
Which to me says sweet spot. If
I
neither
don't-
side thinks they have the advantage, that's the sweet spot.
The runners definitely have an advantage in this. Like
The
what's strong- I don't-
hybrid
Is-
runners
if
do.
Kevin Gregory wins, then we'll know that the runners didn't have the advantage. He's a.
I'm
Would
saying
you
you
bet
bring,
on them?
if you bring a CrossFitter, oh, my camera's not liking this. You bring a CrossFitter and a marathoner. Who thinks they have the advantage here?
In Deka?
Yes, Deka
Marathoner.
Ultra.
The marathoner for sure. Or
Marathoner.
actually, I'm not sure. I'm not
Right.
sure.
So that means to me, it's a good meeting ground. If it was High Rocks Ultra with pro weight, who has the advantage?
CrossFitter every time.
It's not even close. So
For sure.
anyways, in our sport, it might be good for our sport, but it wouldn't be good for outsiders. And I don't know if that matters or not. Got to stop this camera.
Stop that thing. But yeah, I think that there like would be some sort of real strength component, even if it's just like a stop along the way. So if it is like what you're saying, BK, going from a Deka to a High Rocks or doing a High Rocks into like Murph or something like that, something that is going to have a lot
Yeah.
more to do with the actual functional fitness piece and not just
do a
output
heavy
engine.
do a heavy sandbag carry after a certain amount of times. Like now your next 500 you have to carry 100 pounds, something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
High
Something that-
Rocks, Deka, Murph would be nasty.
oh yeah.
In a trail run like Cloverfield, connecting each one.
Bring them back, send them out.
3 days in
bring
a
'em back.
row. Oh
No.
Oh.
Back to back to back.
Oh,
These are
Yeah.
stations with Cloverfield trail loop, 5K in between each one or something.
how would you position this? Would you do Murph last? Because that'd be horrible.
I mean,
You probably have to
Deka's
go
the
last.
good
It's
one to
never-
do last, right?
Yeah.
You want Deka last.
Well, I mean, Murph will probably is going to inflict the most damage.
Yeah. So do you
want
save it
that
till
last?
the end?
Probably want it last.
I wouldn't want to do 300
High Rocks,
squats with a
Deka,
weight
Murph?
vest after 100 wall balls, but I also wouldn't want to do 100 wall balls after 300 weight. That's a tough one. I'll probably save Murph till the end.
I don't want to
Yeah,
run after
survive.
Murph. So I think, yeah, you finish with
Finish with
Yeah.
Murph. Finish with
Yeah.
Murph.
dumb
yeah,
idea.
Yeah, and hey, someone will do it.
Yeah.
What was our idea for the one in the dome in Alaska? What were we gonna have? How
don't
was that
remember
gonna
that.
work?
Alaska.
We were
don't
talking
remember
about
that.
a 24-hour hybrid.
don't
I know that
remember.
we
Was
invented
it just
a race.
Deka High Rocks back to back for 24 hours?
I remember like Heather White and Lauren Weeks and a couple others ended up testing out our hybrid, our custom
a short
event.
course.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I looked back at that the other day. I don't like it.
Sucks.
I've decided I won't have machines in my hybrid, my actual hybrid event.
No machines, even though
Really?
that's a staple.
What would you
Yeah,
do?
I've decided I want a hybrid event, a true hybrid. Excuse me,
That frog at your
to
throat.
not require skill at all.
Okay.
No skill needed.
You're talking Dave Claxton corner. You and Dave.
So
Is
an
an
aligned?
air
air
Salt
bike
bike
is an
could
air
be
bike
on it.
skill? Okay.
Yes, Jack.
Would you,
You are
squat?
correct.
Would you
Checking.
squat to a bucket?
Everything's bucket based.
All bucket.
Yeah.
Carry the bucket, sit it down, squat to it, pick it back up. What else? You
I
know,
would-
because we had like rope climbs and we had some barbell.
So I would have like
Skill.
I wouldn't have like a snatch or anything like that, but I'd be fine with a deadlift. Maybe it'd be trap bar. A strong person could just walk in and exert their strength.
hmm
It might be pick it up and walk with it, like some sort of ladder. I don't know what. Yoke carry. No skill required, but it tests your hybridness by it'd be all versions of that throughout my race. I think I would get rid of all skill.
Mine would just be farmer's carry or sandbag carry everywhere. You're not running. You're just
Right.
you're carrying some implement.
That was like the McGregor event was what that was.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Sled pull. I would keep, but it would either have to be only drag or only hand over hand, but there'd be no rope management.
Just make it
There'd
lighter.
be no either lighter in one or just like you're an ox and you just like
you're seated.
walk backwards against
What's
it, and it's
that?
for
Oh, I see.
distance. But there'd be no road man. I'd take rid of all skill and technique.
What's that awkward thing that they had in the CrossFit Games in Madison that they had to do the front carry in
The pickle?
Husafel something?
Who's the fella? Yeah.
Yeah, like something like that, where with the front carry, it's like
Yeah.
you just have to grip it and just move with
Atlas
it.
stone. Great.
Yeah.
Why no skill? What's the problem with skill?
Because
Running's a skill.
well, everything's a skill, but like I don't want something that robs you of what you can do. I want to see what you can do, not, oh, I've never tried this thing before. To me, hybrid means that unplanned, you could bring everyone into a room and find out just how good are you at exerting on this thing, rather than like, can you do a cartwheel? Like, I don't care about the cartwheel. Like, do you have good balance? Let's test that. Handstand walking, dumb. There's a better way we could test that. You could do handstand push-ups. I'm off on a corner. Just like,
We can do
write
that.
me out of the episode.
Yeah.
We can do this. I got no problem, but I don't see the issue with skill stuff. I think it's like something to strive for, something to push toward. It's only skill if you haven't tried it.
My first
Well,
time
true,
on
but like that's not whatever.
my
Oh,
first time on a ski erg was probably like 2020, and I was probably 10 seconds slower per 500 at what I'd do now, but it's not a hard thing to figure out. Even if I'm a bad rower, you're not going to be that much slower if the time domain's only 500 meters or 1,000, for instance.
In an ultra, maybe.
Maybe an ultra, no skill.
Yeah.
That's because we don't want the barrier. We don't
But
want
some people would say that adaptability is part of an a hybrid athlete.
Hmm?
So that camp would be totally justified in countering everything I said because it's important to them.
Yeah, the adaptability, that seems to be something that OCR would test really well.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the major pieces of OCR that they test. Where I don't know if that necessarily needs to be the case for hybrid. I kind of like being able to be prepared for something, right? Like kind of what you're saying, like bring everybody into one space and watch them do it. That's kind of what CrossFit is, right? It's like we're not really going to tell you what it is, but
What it started as.
it's what it started as.
Now
Right.
you better be skilled and specific.
Oh yeah, now it's just gotten so good. Now you're just doing step ups. How many BK?
1,000.
$1 grand.
Grand. How
Did you do
how
it yet?
fast? I don't think I'm gonna do that work.
I did 46:30.
That's pretty good.
That was in the 94th, 95th percentile.
I'll call that a B+ effort.
Were you sore?
We haven't talked about it since. I talked about it on
No.
Running Public. I
wondering.
was so sore at the top
Wait,
of
wait,
my
wait,
calf behind
Oh,
my
I
knee.
was gonna guess where it was. I
Top of
would have
your-
guessed Achilles, but just because of the going down, I think
Yeah.
the going down was probably the
It's not super
because-
ballistic though.
I think because when my toe
true.
first hit, as I loaded onto it, just all that force at the top of my calf, and then eccentrically loading down for 500 reps per leg. The top of my, not the bottom, not the middle, only the top, like where it extends behind your knee, was just like rocked for 3 days.
Yeah, wouldn't you think that would just be from extending over and over? 500
Yeah, maybe.
extensions, 500 knee extensions.
Yeah, it could be.
It's a lot.
But the load, but at no point was it bad.
Did you check your heart
Yeah.
rate?
yeah. I was gonna say you get above.
Yeah, I don't
like,
think I got
160.
above like mid 140s ever.
What's that for
Really?
you? Is that zone 2?
That's my aerobic threshold, like 148, 151, depending on temperature.
What would you race high rocks at?
I'd be above that.
Way higher than that.
Okay, so I'm saying you weren't even close to high rocks level exertion for this.
No, and what I did is I split it into sets of 333. So for the first 333, I stepped up, stepped down, switch feet, step up, step down. So I'd alternating which quad was taking the load. For the next 333, I stepped up, same leg back down to shorten the rep. Alternating whether your foot changes at the top or at the bottom, which one's leading. And then the final 334, I did sets of 5 for the first like 150, and then sets of 10 for the last. And I used my arms on my quads.
Are you allowed to do that in the rules?
I don't know. I was just testing out different
Oh,
work
okay.
rates to see what it did to my body. And what I found out was
Option
all
2
of this
is
test is work rate. You don't fail out. you don't fail out aerobically, like muscularly you don't. So I think you have to go from the start in your biggest manageable sets. So I think I would do sets of 3 to 5 to start. Like, because the difference of going up, down, other foot up, down, and then up, down, up, down, up, down switch, like your leading leg, is like a quarter to a half second per rep.
That adds up.
Just the
1,000
transition
reps.
piece really adds up. And so I think it's finding your work rate. How many sets can you do? How many reps with one leg and then the other without your legs filling up? So just redoing that again, I would cut off 2 minutes of just strategy of basically transition time on my legs.
Huh.
That makes sense because it's a quicker cycle rate basically. And
There's
then
so much time spent at the top of the box that if you can limit switching at top and bottom,
you're not going to do 500 in a row of that, and then the second 500 with your other leg. That's just unsustainable, or too heavy on one side. But yeah, probably 10 reps each or something, and then switch to the other leg.
And I think if I started with 10, I would burn out.
You would? Okay.
I would start to get slower with reps. I would want the one where I almost like never have to slow my cadence.
Mm-hmm.
So is that to the standard? Can you do that?
What do you mean?
Like you're saying you would step up with the same leg sometimes?
So like left up, right down, left up, right down. So I'd lead with the same, as long as you get both feet on top and extend, same thing on the bottom, you're fine.
You're doing full extension, but you're basically doing like a toe tap with your second foot up. So
well, I'm not sure if you have to alternate each rep.
Yeah, gotcha. I think now I had a few reps that probably I didn't get full extension. In fact, on my story, there was one I was like, I didn't extend there, but I went for feet flat, full extension. I didn't do toe tap on any of them. I tried to keep it pretty like above board. And what it struck me as, it was like burpee broad jumps and doubles. You could switch every rep and never get tired, but you just lose time. You could switch every 10 to 15 and never lose time, but you'd be trash. It's like, what is your sweet spot of transitioning? To me, that's how this competition is, but with lead legs. And then do you get to use your arms or not? And how much do you use them and when do you start using them? I think those are the two things that people have to navigate. But I think with that, you could do low 40s.
You're going to be locked in now to this.
I'm going to do it again after they do it and see if I can optimize it.
And see what standards there. I don't know what their standards are going to be like what they're going
And I was on that soft Titan box and that gives, and
that's worse for sure.
That's way worse.
So if it's a wood box, I think they usually use soft boxes.
Do they?
Just for safety purposes.
There's like soft box and then there's squishy box.
Right. One's a kind of almost like tip. Yeah, mine's soft but not tippy.
I've got the tippy.
Got them tippy ones.
Now the 20 is the most stable, obviously, 20 inch.
Yes.
If they made this even 24 inches, the contest would change.
That'd be rough.
Yeah.
24 would be really hard.
It's going to suck for women if they don't scale it.
I think they're going to do 20. I think I heard it's 20.
20 across the board. They only scale weight. That's going to be significantly worse for the women.
Yes, it should be. I mean, the men and the women are about the same size.
That's true. The guys are small.
Everyone's sitting around 5'6".
Is being a taller athlete,
looking at them just doing.
Yeah.
Is being a taller athlete a big difference maker in this, you think?
Absolutely. You don't have to engage your hamstring very much.
So basically, like Brent Frykowski, he's good.
There's some 6-foot athletes out there.
Might be in trouble. Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't make it. But
oh yeah, he's on the testing squad. Yeah.
You guys gonna give her a go?
Demo team. No.
I don't know. Probably not. 40 minutes? It's not a bad use of time. It's not a bad use of time. You feel stronger now? Your lunges feel better? You feel mentally calloused?
Again, this was a sweat management game. You're just stationary, kind of looking down.
Right. That'd be okay here. Even though hot, dry.
Yeah.
If you could get a cold, dry climate for this, you'd be cooking.
Hammering.
Yeah.
And you were vest?
Winter.
I had to do a sandbag.
A sandbag on your shoulders?
Yeah.
So your arms are up the whole time?
I tried to keep only one up at a time.
Wow,
that
so
obviously wasn't useful.
No.
Yeah.
My shoulders were kind of raw towards the end.
Yeah.
It's way harder.
Do you have sleeves or?
My lower lats were not happy by the end just from stabilizing that thing.
Yeah.
I wore sleeves, but it still rubbed a bunch.
Yeah.
A ruck would be way better.
Oh yeah,
Or a vest would be fantastic.
vest would be easiest. I think they're.
So,
I think
anyways,
they're
I'm saying
using
there's
rock.
room for that's not going to be a top mark for sure.
Do we put
There's
this
room.
in the high? Do we put this in the ultra? You do a Deka. You do Chad. You do a High Rocks.
I would like, yeah, do Chad.
Then you do well,
And Murph.
and then you finish with Murph.
Maybe it's just all hero
they have-
wads. That's
Do they
our
have, I
ultra.
was going to say, do they have a
That's
hero
probably
ultra where you
happened.
do?
That's
Oh,
probably. I think Mike Moralia tried to do something where he was doing all the girl workouts, which are shorter. They're like under 20 minutes.
They're
He was trying to
nasty.
do them. Yeah, they're very nasty. But usually because of the intensity, I think he tried to link a bunch of them
Terrible.
together, and it didn't end well for him.
There are some of the weights I just can't do the girl wads at without failing out.
Yeah, dude.
Like some of the bench, was there one that's like squat, deadlift, bench or something like that? I'm forgetting who that is. I don't know if it's Cindy or whatever.
There's
Angie.
one that's well, Angie's that's like double unders and sit ups.
it's not
Sydney's
Angie then.
Murph without the running. It's there's one that's like
Who is it? Diana or something?
I think
Linda.
Diane. Oh,
Linda.
okay.
Linda.
Linda, I think.
3
where
bars
it's-
of death.
where it's like clean. I think it's clean your body weight, bench press.
Better not be your body weight. Like,
It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
2 1.51 or something,
Something
like
like
that,
that.
right?
something like
Yeah.
that. And it's 10 down to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Like I can't do
Nasty.
that RX without failing out really badly.
Where's your bench at these days? So
Oh, no one knows.
deadlift 1.5 body weight, bench body weight, clean 3/4 of body weight.
That just gets nasty because you start working at 10-9, you're like crank. It's bad by 7.
yeah,
Bench.
better to
this
do
would
it
be-
10 9
yeah.
8 instead of 1 2 3. Like
For the
going
bench
up.
is definitely the issue here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to be doing like 3s right from the start.
Yep.
Okay, I could support a CrossFit Girls and Hero Wad Ultra
All right. Would
I
you
think-
with
I
no
think-
running?
scaled. No, with running, like as my ultra.
5K in between.
Something.
It's
I'd
got to be
support
longer than
that.
a mile because that's not enough.
That would
separation.
actually be cool.
sure.
I like where this is going. Yes, some
Yeah.
sort of run in between where it does give the runners a chance. And yeah, probably has to be more than a mile.
Because you might be like 5 minutes slower on one of these workouts, and it's like if you could run
sure.
a minute and a half faster per mile, now you close the gap.
I
Like
think it's 4 to 5K between or something.
Yeah,
maybe like 3K and then like
3K?
3 girl workouts, then 3K, 3 workouts.
Unless
Or
you
just
did
do
mile
one.
between every workout, not stack the girl workouts.
Ugh. Transitions are going to be important.
Yeah, maybe you could do that. Logistically, this might be challenging,
Yeah, the number of barbells that you need set up.
but we could figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
We're
let you
smart-
test it,
we're
Brad.
smart.
You
Dude.
try to you'd have to choose things that scaled to the most times using the same weight.
Right.
And as
That's-
many things that had like pull-ups and sleds and lunges, like that kept using 45 pounds or something like that.
Right. 135 barbell somewhere.
Yep. A lot of
Mhm.
135s and 95s.
Mhm. All right. I like that.
How many
Let's make
bars
that
you
happen. I only got 1. I've been looking for another one. I want to get a bamboo bar. You have 3 barbells?
Dang.
I have a full size and a shorty.
Like a short, like a 35 or like a
25
short?
pounder.
Oh, yeah.
Full Olympic size, but 25 pounds.
Really? Was it a curl bar? What is it for?
No, it's flat bar.
My
Just like-
gym,
Probably for little
For
girls.
kids? Yeah.
Yeah.
my gym has powerlifting bars also.
Like the
You ever
camber
use
bar
those?
or the safety
Yeah.
squat thing? Safety bar?
No, they just don't have any like bend whatsoever once you load them super
Oh.
heavy.
With the
and they've
knurling in
got-
the middle?
Yeah, and they've got the super thin plates that it's like, oh, that's not heavy, and they for some reason seem like they weigh twice as much as the regular amount, but that's what they all use.
Anyway, Rich, I was looking for more weights and I found a deal. The best deal included a bar and clamps.
So you
at
had to
Dick's.
take it?
So I got it and I just have an extra bar.
Did you ever get that, your dumbbells situated? You're looking at a big,
Yeah, we
Well, that's
talked.
what I did for
big
instead. I just
score.
got a whole nother set and I have the Titan loadable dumbbells.
okay.
I
That
have
go how heavy?
loadable farmer handles and loadable dumbbells. So it's
it get
not
above 50?
it's convenient, but like you can put 45s on them if you want, or like 225. So I bought a whole nother set of like 305 or whatever worth of plates so that I can load sleds and dumbbells and not have to take them off my rack.
Nice. Yeah, that's the move.
Yeah.
Just storing all that stuff. How's storage? What's your storage?
I
solution?
store one set on the sled and one set in my 1.5 sets in my holders. I made little DIY floor-based holders.
That's the move. I need to get my storage situation
I'll
to date.
send you a picture in the specs of what I did. It's super easy and it works well.
I need that. I was thinking about getting Luca. We're having a camp this weekend up at Luca's spot. He leaves his sled outside, but puts like a grill
Can't get away
cover on
with
it.
that here.
In the
We
winter
can't get it.
even?
I'm not sure about the winter,
Oh, okay. I was
but
thinking
in the
March.
summer you can get away with it for sure.
Yeah, pretty dry.
Eric Hinman has a whole setup outside. And he just leaves his stuff out there. He's a whole Rogue, his assault bikes, his like a bunch of stuff just left outside. And he says it's fine.
To the elements, that's crazy. Even in
All right.
Colorado, like during the summer, that still seems a little crazy. Anything with a flywheel.
Look at you
that.
go. Look at
Okay.
you
I see
go.
what you're doing.
I like that. That's smart.
Sweet.
You don't have bumper plates
Got I have 245s.
on the bar yeah, okay.
That's all I have. And then so I have the 25 shorty bar. So I can, if I can't do 135 with whatever I'm using bumpers for, I throw it on the shorty bar.
That would be good for like lunges and such.
Yeah.
Even for like cleaning stuff. Like it's not the weight distribution you want, but I can do snatches or like, I don't snatch, but I can do like
I was
hang
like
clean
snatches.
with my bumpers on and still only be at, what is that? 115 or something.
I need to be like as wide as possible, even on a big bar for a snatch. Like
Yeah, I don't
just clears my
snatch.
head that much.
Sure.
We're working on it. All right. We've stopped talking about stuff for a while here now.
Let's give some predictions for the Deka Ultra.
Okay.
We didn't do it for Spartan. Let's just go back to who we think's gonna come out on top.
They are promising prize money for this as well. Like 2K, 1K, 500 or something like that.
Do you have a list we can throw up here?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
I mean, realistically, Dylan should crush.
Just a health concern.
Just the health concern. If the Achilles is not in the equation, he laps everyone multiple times.
You would
Everyone?
think. I mean,
Everyone.
Isaac's going to be good, but again,
No,
Isaac's gonna be beat up.
he's going to be beat up. So
he's not fresh.
Then we're looking at Grady Jackson.
He's not just beat up. He's doing one of the hardest U.S. races the day before, like at the beast distance. It's going to be really, really demanding. I don't care how fit you are. That's not what you want in your body before an ultra.
It's just going to be about like refueling. You know, body wise, beat up. Like you don't need to be like in peak, like physical condition for a 3-hour race like this. I don't think, but he's just going to be depleted.
If you lined up next to you for this Deka Ultra and one of you had done the Utah Beast the day before, would you think it should be a competition?
It would be certainly a disadvantage for the other me, definitely. But
if you were the one who had done it, would you have any level of confidence against yourself?
Well, no, but against
Okay.
well, Isaac against people that he's way better than.
True. I'm talking Dylan.
No. If Dylan's healthy, if he can like confidently complete it, then Isaac has no shot against him.
I don't think you guys should sleep on Mark Paulzine.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I just think Dylan
hasn't got mentioned
trained
yet.
for this for 3 years.
That's true.
I would put Grady Jackson before Mark Paulzine.
And then one other guy, Derek York, he ran like a 230 something marathon not too long ago, and like he's competent enough at these stations.
He's gonna do for his first DEKAFIT is gonna be 33 flat.
No, way faster.
He might qualify his first fit.
He's gonna qualify. Yeah, can you do that? Can you do that here, Jack?
He has
We'll
the
see.
tools.
En
He
route.
has the
He'll
pieces
have the plus symbol.
to do really well.
We've seen him do it across many
Yep.
races where he'll be the first one in and out. So he's definitely gonna be the first one done with the initial DEKAFIT.
All right, let's play hypothetical. Isaac, he does not end up running Utah. Dylan, he's all healed. The two of them are just going head to head fresh. Who do you have?
Dylan.
We're not considering Grady to be
Okay.
a factor to playing against either of them.
I'm just having that. I think Grady's on the podium in my book.
I don't think it's going to be. I mean, he does ultra stuff. And he's bigger than the two of them. He's like a bigger dude, so he's going to be able to handle a little bit more of this.
Yep,
This like the punishment.
you're not wrong. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. I think I'll
Ruko
still
could
give.
be up there.
Yeah. I'll still give Dylan the edge simply because he isn't running Utah the day before.
Yes, good.
But now are we saying that a fresh Grady won't beat a beat up Isaac?
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, I know it's the or I guess I'm speaking about myself. You might be right that Grady could get second and Isaac gets
Brady
third
could win
there.
this.
I think Grady could win.
Yeah.
All it takes is a cramp and you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like if a hamstring starts, you are in trouble. If you lose your grip, you are in trouble. If you don't hydrate well enough, you're going to be in trouble. And this is going to bleed out faster than a regular ultra.
This is going to be interesting. Like, this is going to be an interesting race to run.
This is high-end 50K time domain. High-ish end. 3.5 to 4 hours. That's a fast 50K on the trails. Stuff can go wrong the last few miles.
Who's missing from the men's field who would have made this more interesting?
I mean, Rylan.
We always say Rylan, right?
Yep.
No matter what. Atkins.
Yeah.
Just throw him in there.
We've seen Hunter go 3 hours.
Not for a while.
Not for a while, but he's never done poorly.
And he does do like 6-hour bike rides and stuff. Like I'm sure he's the time domain he's able to do.
I think a lot of the High Rocks guys who aren't as fast, who can just do grunt work, I think a lot
Kent
of them
would
would factor in. I don't think
Kent used to be very good at beasts.
Disagree.
Yeah. This is like his style, you know, a few minutes on, few minutes on machines, few minutes running. Like, I see him doing well.
No.
Explain that, Rich. Are you just talking?
Hater. I'm out here hating.
Just a hater. Okay. I support Hayden.
He's coming. He's coming to Colorado today. I got to go pick him up. He doesn't get until like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Way past my
Coming and staying with you guys or what?
Hanging with us. We got some guest beds. He's gonna be in there.
How long is he in town?
Plural.
For a week. He's hanging a whole week.
Are you guys? Is he going to be around till next Friday?
Not next Friday.
Okay, because they're
How's he
having
doing?
Tuesday to Tuesday.
Gotcha. They're having the Olympic trial or the Olympic opening ceremony in downtown Colorado Springs next Friday. You should come down. It's a pretty cool celebration. They've got a bunch of like street festivals and stuff, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'll give you more info after.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm around, but I'll let you mans.
Next Friday. It's like 11 to 4.
I think Austin would do well with this.
Austin would do great.
He's without question. Yeah,
that's a really good one. That's a really good one. But other than that, yeah, we got a lot of good athletes here.
Yeah,
who we'd want to see.
Now,
Mark would probably do well.
Cadet? Oh yeah,
yeah. Good call. Absolutely,
100%. Magida, like he's got. I mean, he ran 230 something marathon or 240.
I'm just here. I'm here hating. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If we're hating, I'll just say Magita's a cramper.
He's not gonna do it.
His back's not making it.
Kent won't do it.
On paper, with he and Mark, with what they've done at JFK plus hybrid, they're the guys to beat.
How about Rich Ryan?
Oh, this is like way.
We saw your ultra.
Long. This is way too long for you, man. I'm just
outside of that ultra. What's the longest event you've done?
Outside of that ultra event, like a marathon.
What'd you get?
Like 242.
When was that?
18.
Gotcha.
It's fine. I was running in Brooks Pure Connect, 4 millimeter drop, like
that
10 millimeter stack
bottom.
height. Yeah. So you slap on some regular shoes on me. I'm running in like 235 that day.
Yeah.
Best shape of your life. What are you capable of in a marathon? Are you interested to find out?
Not really. But when over that COVID time, I think I could have gotten pretty close to under 230.
29,
yeah.
You could run with Logan. I think that's about it. Yeah.
I mean,
one other guy.
Dirt. So
yeah, that's always the thing. Well, Bracken did.
Yeah.
To be clear, I didn't run with him.
Yeah.
We spent exactly 3 seconds together on course.
He didn't want that smoke. When it came time to run with you, he didn't want it.
Just get a little fog on the course so you sneak up behind him. One other guy that I saw on the DEKAFIT, but not on the Deka Ultra, but I thought he was planning on doing it, Austin Tenelsoft. He did a trial and he did 4 in a row at 36. So
wow, really?
Yeah, like he put out some good metrics.
He's
and
then
I
I
think
machines.
Then he fell apart on like the last one, but I think
Still.
if he decides to do it, if he decides to do the ultra, he could shock some people.
Like 36 what?
I don't know. I thought he said he was on pace for 3
Even
hours
if
and
it's
then fell apart.
37.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah. Don't
That means someone can.
Yeah. We're
If in
thinking.
training, yeah. He might even be able to do it. If
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
no one's holding their marathon pace in training for all 26.
Yeah. Now,
You
is
could make it
this
16 or 18 in training. You'd be like, all right. No one's making it 16 or 18 in training.
Yeah. Now, is this the type of race that you would want? You know how like Tyler Veerman and Mark Cadet, they just like clung on to each other for most of it, and then it was like last man for themselves towards the end.
Huh.
Is this the one where you go out with someone and you just kind of work together, or do you want separation and to run by yourself?
There's too many transitions. It'd be hard to stay together.
Yeah. And I was thinking in terms, because I think Mark and Tyler, they were just like hanging out, chatting. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how much like chit chat you'll be able to do. It's just like these
Every
short...
drop of oxygen in your body.
Yeah. No, probably not. Probably not.
It'd be, even if you were working the exact same cadence on everything, it'd be hard to get in and out of a station at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd want a Pac-Man.
When do you start racing this thing?
4. I wouldn't even try it. Like if you're breathing too heavy at any point during 3, like it's gonna be a long day.
Like you think 45 minutes of racing?
Yeah, I'd say probably
yeah.
after the air bike on 4.
Hmm.
That's probably when you might want to press.
It might be like 4 at your like
4 pace.
FTP for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then if you can hang on for 5, you do. And if you can race for 5, you do. Like I don't know. Or do you just try to build each lap?
And do you make like a move at like a stupid station, like sit-ups?
Yeah.
Where you just can get out and just like, oh, made a big move here.
Yeah.
That sit-ups might be an issue after a while, like just the cramping in the midsection.
Yes, and then going right into
Right into ski. I could
Plus
see
you're
that.
gonna be slipping on the ground by that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to think, where would the cramping happen? Certainly quads, but if you're wearing them Skyward X, quads aren't really doing anything.
Could be that little like hip flexor area.
Mm-hmm. Hip flexor area. I think abdominals.
Yeah,
I could
definitely.
see
you could have some intercostal cramping.
For sure.
farmer's carry. I could see some people putting it down, like a lot of zigzags, getting some sweaty hands later on. Like that could be a position where some people lose a little bit of time.
Yeah, you might have to do like Dylan wears the gymnastics grips for high rocks. I bet he'll have them on for this too.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of turn them out to the outside.
Would you wear a shirt?
No.
100%.
Well, Jack, yeah.
Sweat, absolutely.
I'd be swapping out every Deka atop.
You would. Why?
Sleeves or no sleeves?
Sweat management and yeah.
I feel
No
like it'd
sleeves.
just be added heat.
I'd have them cold. I'd have cold, damp shirts in a cooler in my transition, and I'd throw them on every lap. Cold, damp hat every lap.
That would be smart. That'd be smart.
Yeah.
I'd probably pick up you probably wouldn't be allowed to. Never mind, I wouldn't do that. And I'd have gloves.
I don't know what gloves would do for you.
Even
I'm
just like
putting them
keep your hands from ripping.
Put them in your pockets. A couple places.
I don't know if you'd rip in a Deka.
I don't think you'd rip in a Deka, and I think it would just add heat.
I would use them for sit-ups like that, or wall overs.
Sit-ups,
like that's gonna be
farmers,
covered in sweat.
Wall overs. Yeah.
Yep.
Hold on, we gotta do the women.
Yeah, I was gonna say
treat it like a hot ultra. Have your change at your crew. Have it in a cooler. Absolutely.
All right. Here's
On
our
the
women's
women's
field
end.
so far. I think
This is really interesting.
Bethany or
style
Lauren
of
Rentala.
skills. Like McChesney, Sullivan, Rentala, they all bring such, and Hannah and Josa.
She just ran in Morzine.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. I know she's a fantastic ultra athlete, and she did get
Heather.
Yeah.
They bring different skill sets. I love it.
Julie Best. Like she could fight.
Yeah, after the Utah situation. I like Heather White here.
That's true.
I like her for the podium for sure. And I like Lauren Rentala too. I like because it's just like a grind.
Mm-hmm.
And Lauren's going to be willing to do something to just go to
This
the well.
isn't me calling out her running. This is a real statement. I don't know what her running's like over an hour.
Heather?
Sure.
No, Lauren. I just don't know what
Lauren.
it's going to be like.
Yeah.
I think that people may be underestimating how quickly you should want to be able to run. I mean, 25K, it's not
More than a half
like,
marathon.
yeah, but like 15 miles of intervals, you
Just
can
add
keep
up.
a relatively quick run in theory. And I just don't know what some of these men and women are like over an hour.
Right. There's not a lot of burners in either field, I don't feel like.
I like Bethany in this.
I would probably pick her also. Yeah. Probably Bethany. Yeah, Hannah just coming after Morzine. That's the only reason why I'm a little unsure.
She's a grinder. She's done the backyard ultra style. Like she knows how to recover, but that's a big ask.
What did Lauren Rentala, what's her High Rocks PR?
109, I think.
Okay. I thought she was sub 70. It's pretty solid. That's probably in the same ballpark as Kelly Sullivan. I don't think Kelly Sullivan's gonna break down, and she like
I don't think Kelly Sullivan has 69 in her.
no.
I like Kelly Sullivan for this style of race though.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she'll grind it out and do really well, I think.
She's done Killington down to a stadium and a strong. Like she's got both ends of the spectrum covered.
She's a very strong athlete. Yeah, hard nosed. I like Kelly, Heather White, and Lauren Rentala in no specific order.
I'm gonna be a homer and say Hannah.
Yeah, I'll probably go Bethany, Lauren, Hannah. Yeah,
Kelly has a 1:14:45.
114. Okay.
I'll go Bethany, Heather, Hannah. No disrespect to Lauren.
Okay.
Do you think size is like, how do you think size is going to play into this?
I think it depends what kind of size.
I misspoke on Lauren. She's 67-40.
Okay.
Having excess power certainly helps here.
Right.
As long as you can run it.
Like Bethany's going to probably have the running advantage across the entire field.
Mm-hmm.
But the output it's going to take for her on the machines is like percentage wise going to be higher than what everybody else is going to have to do, just based off your size.
You could lose a minute and a half between the three machines every single lap relatively easily.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But I think that running, that's going to make up a little. Like if you're a stud runner and no one's going with you, and you have that endurance, I think that's going to be the bigger differentiator.
So how much of a gap, let's say a Bethany, how much of a gap on the run can she put into these girls?
Well, I did
Per
Bethany's
5K?
I have Bethany's
5K.
splits right here also.
Oh, nice. Great.
So if we want to take a look at Bethany,
and then your projected women's time would be 3:20-ish.
Yeah, 3:20-ish, because she went 34:54. That actually comes to about a 3:30 because of the 14% drop off at 13.4 for the men, 14.2 for the women. So basically you go from running 7-minute pace to 8-minute pace for those type of races.
Put 3 minutes. She
Yeah.
could put a minute. Yeah, she could put 3 minutes on some of these women in the 5K.
But look at her zones. Like 14:34 isn't bad.
Oh, that's good.
Within a race, because most of the time your zones during a race are 15-20 seconds slower than what you could do solo, roughly. So yeah. I feel like she's 14 low on that, but she's quick. Like I know that you're not going to hold the same pace during a race, but like her step overs are quick. I think it's going to be the machines, like you said, but she's competent. Like she's very, very good on ram burpees. I've seen her during the races. She's real good at that. Wall over, I've seen her be pretty quick on that. Lunges, she's shorter, so that's in and out for her. But
yeah,
you keep that air bike under 3 minutes, and then the machines under probably 2:40. Then I think that's kind of the secret to doing well for her.
The question is burpees for me, because we've seen a lot of people be able to do the burpees well, but it doesn't mean they can sustain burpees. It means taxing. They can empty the tank on burpees well, but like, would going 20 seconds slower actually leave them feeling fresh? Or would they still
20?
just be
No.
trash still? And
Yeah.
then you never fully recover?
You might
That's
need to
the big
double.
question mark for me is what happens coming out of burpees each lap to
Yeah.
these people?
You might
And,
need to
and
double your time on burpees. Step back, step forward every single time.
Yeah.
yeah, pretend you're doing it like the people in the ruck division.
Yeah.
Like you just have to go slow. And I don't know about you, Rich, but like the only part of me that ever really hurts after a Deka is my lower back. And I think that that's because I'm rushing through burpees towards the end, like
and
just trying to finish
sled
that.
burpees, yeah.
Yeah, it
Wall
definitely back
overs.
intensive towards the end.
Mhm.
But I could see that like lap 3, 4, it's like, oh, starting to feel those
That's a
aches
good
and
point.
pains a little bit.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
just
I don't
something
think
to
you're
think
going to be
about.
able to atrophy your RAM burpee 15%.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to do like 30 to 50%.
I agree. Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
You might have to be 75% slower on RAM burpees.
Yeah.
So that adds about 5 minutes to the time realistically. Like if you're doing them in a little over a minute, now you're a little over 2 minutes potentially for your RAM burpees. So that's 5 minutes extra.
And I think that's where the power, Rich, you asked about size comes into play. You have someone like a Bubbles who getting up off the ground, like the RAM might as well be above his head already.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to float up and down and that's fine. Whereas for a runner who might be able to do them every bit as fast as him, to do it casually isn't going to be as like, it's not going to be the same thing. It's going to be so much more work to do it at a slower pace than what someone like he will have. So I think the burpees just plays big.
I mean, you have a person like Kevin, just to go back to the men, where his typical race is like a 25-minute 5K and then an 11-minute stations for all of his zones combined. I feel like he could probably do a lot of 12 to 12:30s for his zones throughout the race and just probably not be as affected on the running, maybe drop from 8-minute pace to 8:30. And I think that he'll kind of like grind along like that. And I think you'd see the same thing on the women's side. If you're more towards the strength side, your running is probably going to be pretty similar to what it was, but you're going to fade a lot less on the zones if it's essentially weightless like you were talking about, Bracken. And the RAM burpees are only 22 for women. I think that 33 should have been the weight that they chose for that, but I don't think that RAM burpees will affect the women's field as much since it's a relatively lighter weight.
That's fair.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Hope there's coverage.
We can watch it or we can't.
Not sure.
We might not get coverage. BK gonna go on site?
No, we're out of town. Mount Rushmore.
All right.
Oh, let's do who would have shaken this up? Obviously, Chris Rogloski would have loved seeing her. Probably a Katie Knight.
Yep. I mean, Lauren Weeks.
Katie Knight would be nasty.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Lauren
Callie
Weeks would probably murder
Schweikart.
everybody. Callie would be really good.
Callie.
Is it kind of like you where it's a little too far for Meg? Would it be a little long?
I think she would do fine. I don't think she would love this event, but I think she would do perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like she puts in lots of volume.
Alyssa Hawley, probably.
She doesn't really race much anymore.
No, we're doing theoreticals.
Like a
Theoreticals
Nicole
is
Miracle.
With her endurance these days,
She's done a
do her
Deka.
17-minute Dekas and or
done some Deka.
zones and then finish everything else. Yeah. Is anyone in the High Rocks field? Do they have like a triathlon background?
Amy Bevilacqua. She'll probably murder.
Bevilacqua might crush.
She might murder this thing.
Yeah. There's time she can get out to this.
Yeah, she'd be good at Deka. She'd
Okay.
be good at Deka.
She'll receive a shiny brand new IOU from Spartan.
You can't. Yeah. Everybody needs one. Seems like everybody has one of the. BK, you owed?
I'm caught up. Macaulay's the only one in our family that has an outstanding debt. He'll never see that.
That ain't happening.
So
Jack, you are you waiting on anything from Spartan?
I got caught up. Oh, from Spartan? Yeah. I'm still owed something by them and I've sent reminders. So yeah.
I think I'm square. I just haven't done it at Spartan.
Square?
I don't think I'm.
Yeah. If you don't win money, like they can't owe you.
They paid $100 at a time, 10th place. Yeah. So I just got an answer from Yancey. He said that Dave Claxton is going to be doing something for the OCR report and Sean will be doing something for hybrid report.
It's great.
Yep. So a couple sources.
We'll be
Look out
watching
for
some
it.
stuff.
Yep.
I caught
Should
up
be good.
on Diamond League. Saw Monaco.
Good 1,500.
He's looking
Fast as
good.
Good
always.
800. How many of them are doping?
Oh yes, BK.
Everyone.
Yes, BK. It's the entire
I
field.
don't even care about it anymore because it's everyone.
It's the enhanced games.
Yeah, we don't need the enhanced games.
Do you hear about that? There's some guy who won the 100 in or the 50 free in 2012 and 2016 from Australia, and he's like, I'm gonna be doped to the gills to try $1 million prize to set the world record, because that's what the
Oh, is that
founder
what they're
said.
doing?
Yeah, or 100. It was like
This
a
thing won't
million or
happen,
500,000 or something. Yeah, it's not
It's
gonna
like
happen.
legit
But
people behind it. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's like some goofy thing.
I mean, it's goofy.
It's definitely goofy, but I don't think
that
it's
is
just like
goofy.
some.
Yeah,
I don't think it's some goofball like trying to rip people off, or I think
it's not Fire
Is
Fest.
this the goofiest games? Let's see who.
It has to be.
No, dude. You
Let's
guys,
take drugs and see how fast we can go. Is that the goofiest?
come on. You saw Go Ruck games. There's no goof. There's it's the pinnacle of goofiness.
Yeah.
I don't know. The goofiest is still the row at the top of the mountain.
One
Come
more
on,
goofy
bro.
game. One more
Still
goofy
goofy.
games.
That's got to
One
be
more
part of
goofy
our
games.
ultra.
How long is this 4-mile run going to be at the CrossFit Games this year? That's the last goofy
366.
games. 366.
There's because it's probably gonna be like a run into the swim, and then like that. There's no even reason to think it's going to be actual distance.
Remote. Yeah.
All right. One last person, since we're doing theoreticals that won't be there. If you take people from their prime, I think Matt Kempson would do well at a Deka Ultra.
Oh, probably.
Corinna Coffin.
Corinna Coffin.
Was Corinna good at ultra stuff? I mean, she has some
She
try
won
background, right?
She got second at a 4-hour Killington World Championship.
Against
and she
plumbers.
was on a triathlon. Yeah. She beat Lindsay.
Oh,
Yeah, when she was plumbing.
Lindsay's first race. Yeah.
That was Lindsay's first race.
How
Who won
crazy
that
is
year?
it?
Was that a Claude year?
Oh yeah, number 2. How crazy is it? Lindsay's first race, she gets 4th place, and I don't know what her future is after having a baby, but she got 5th in Tough Mudder, Alula. It's like, could she start and end her career off the podium? Like, those are the only times we've ever really seen it. That's
Seems like an
that's crazy
appropriate
to think
arc.
about.
Appropriate arc.
5th best in the sport right now.
Yep.
That's it.
Power
Not denying it.
rankings.
Power rankings. All right, squad, we did it. So we'll be locked in to some results. Locked in ish. Any track and field? Is the London
one more.
London's this weekend? That's the last one, right?
I don't think the last one was Monaco. I thought there was one more on the 19th,
Yeah, I think it's London.
which is this weekend.
Who should be racing that? Nobody?
People who haven't qualified for the Olympics.
Did they
Yeah.
did the 400 hurdle guys, did they screw it up? Did Karsten, should he have stayed home now that Ryan knows he can beat him?
I don't know, man. Do we think it's a done
Hurdlers are
deal?
weird.
Like Carson Warholm could close.
I know that.
Get
I'm
50 more
saying,
meters of closing.
but he like gave Rye hope. That's the thing. It's like, was that
The 400 hurdles is such a getting it right or getting it wrong event.
Mm-hmm.
That those long sprints, like you could vary a half a second, one race to the next 2 days later, just because you over pushed your first 100 or something.
Yeah.
Right.
All
It's
right.
a weird event.
It's enough side tangents. Watch the OCR report and hybrid report, and you'll see the DEKA coverage. And then OCR report on Monday or early next week. They'll have the post-edited coverage.
Nice. All right, squad. We'll talk to you soon.